But to stick with the running game, like I said, they weren't as bad today as the box scores can make it seem. If you take Keyvon Lee, John Lovett, and Jahan Dotson, you combine their numbers, they ran for 111 yards. Cliff had 16 carries for 16 yards. However, he was sacked, I think, 6 or 7 times. So on designed runs and on QB scrambles, he probably rushed for 30 to 40 yards, just sacks. And then that Jordan Stout, that fake field goal, went as a minus 18-yard run for Stout. So the rushing game wasn't as bad as it's been. My biggest takeaway from that, honestly, was he left the game on Penn State's next to last possession. I think it was their next to last possession he left it, or it might have been the possession they scored the touchdown tied on. It was late in the fourth quarter. Keyvon Lee left the game with some sort of injury, and he did not return. But my big takeaway is if Lee is healthy, he's got to be running back one right now, I feel. He came into the game averaging, I believe it was 5.1 yards per carry, I want to say, 5.1 yards per carry, which was best on the team. He ran for 88 yards on Saturday and averaged 4.5 yards a carry against a very good Michigan defense. I know there's been the effort to get Noah Kane carries, John Lovett, Devin Ford at times just trying to get anything going. But I think at this point, these final 2 games into the bowl game, you've got to, assuming he's healthy, you've got to ride Keyvon Lee as your top running back. It's not just the production. He's the guy who will take the ball and fall forward. He's the guy who sometimes to his demise tries to bounce outside and tries to make a play. Like he is the guy who is not just been the most successful runner, but has also been the guy who I feel has run the hardest and things of that nature.
Yeah, he has already proven to me that he is the most reliable of all 3 runners. I like that they're trying to get John Lovett involved in the passing game. He dropped one too many for me this weekend. So why don't you give those touches to Lee? He's proven at this moment that he's going to get you at worst a couple of yards on every touch, right? He has gone from early in the season, as you pointed out. He tried to dance around too much, kind of very Saquon Barkley-esque loss of yards on those scrambles. He has now worked in such a way that, sure, he'll try to scramble, but he'll only do so after he's already gained a couple of yards, right? He's going forward, he's getting you a couple of yards, and you know what? That's all you need. You don't need, and here's the thing, right? I'm about to say you don't need 12 yards on every possession or on every touch. But you know what? Keyvon Lee is the only one who actually has given you 12 yards for any given point. So at this stage in the game, right? Like, sure, any goal beyond a bowl game at this point is out the window, right? But at the very least, you can still salvage some of what's left of the season, win 8 or 9 games, right? Keyvon Lee is the guy who's going to give you the best opportunity to have some semblance of balance in the offense. And the coaching staff just needs to suck it up and tell the other guys that if they want more touches, they got to beat out the guy who's actually giving them production. It's like Keyvon Lee has 88 yards in this game. The next person is John Lovett with 17. The third best person is your quarterback. What are we doing here? Enough, right?
Yeah.
This is Lee's position. This is Lee's job. Just give it to him and stop screwing around.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Make the other guys take it away from him at this point. To his credit, he's been the one back who has come the closest to come out and seizing this job this year and taking the bull by the horns. Make someone rip it away from him. I thought it was extremely telling. Noah Kane did not have a single touch today, and I don't think he was even in the game until after Lee got hurt. When Lee got injured, which I remember now was on that drive, Penn State tied the game because they went in that formation with the heavy backfield with Devin Ford and Noah Kane. And for both of them, that was their first play of the game, and Cliff dumped it off to Tyler Warren. But for Noah Kane, and now with Noah Kane, I will preface this with he has really struggled this season more than anyone expected. That said, to me, he's never looked fully healthy. It sucks to say it because when healthy, the kid is so good. But I really do wonder if that foot injury last year just proves to be more than he can overcome. But like you said, you got to let Lee take the job right now. And, I thought during the broadcast today, one point Dan Orlovsky kept making, which I totally agree with, was, like you said, you don't need to be getting 12 yards every play. But what Penn State needs to avoid, and they've not been able to avoid very often this year, is you can't be losing 2 yards per carry. The running backs need to understand, and I feel like Lee is the back who's done this best. You know what? Sometimes if the hole isn't there, lowering your shoulder and getting 2 yards, especially on first down, you'll take that because that doesn't derail the entire drive. And, I feel like there's been times a lot of the backs haven't done that, and Lee's been the guy who's been the best at avoiding that. And sometimes just getting that 1 or 2 yard gain on first down to keep you from being behind the sticks for the rest of the drive can make all the difference in the world. And Lee's been the back who's done that this year.
Indeed. And if you have a drive where you have to go for it on fourth down, like they did in the last drive, right? You'd much rather go for it on 4th and 2 or 4th and 3 than 4th and 7, or I think it was 4th and 6 that they had to go for it in that last drive before Michigan basically ran out the clock.